All right, so you haven't even gotten to like. There's still more.
Oh, there's more. Oh, it was an endless cornucopia. It was like Christmas in July. So it was. So I guess the next thing is this business with Olivia Nuzzi, who's a writer
Yes.
was a writer for New York Magazine, is now on leave because it turned out that she had an affair with RFK Jr. Although the CNN clarified that this affair was only emotional and digital in nature, which
Or that's all they have evidence of at this point.
okay, yeah. And I have to say, I'm always very saddened by sex scandals where there's no actual sex. Like there's actually been quite a few of these, and like I miss the old days when it was, like Kennedy's. RFK Jr.'s uncles actually having sex with the mistresses of mobsters. I mean, those were the good old days. It seems like now everything is digital, everything is AI.
Well, Anthony Weiner kind of pushed us forward in this regard with his online/phone only sex scandal for some of it, which Olivia Nuzzi started her career working, I believe, as an intern.
Yes, she did work for Weiner, and actually, like, I mean, she's a very sort of mainstream figure. I don't want to do any sort of pile on her, but I mean, she, even with the Weiner thing, she wrote about the Weiner campaign after being an intern there. And it seems like that sort of porous boundary, between your personal life and what you're reporting on. I think we're seeing some of the same thing. But I mean, and again, it is RFK Jr. is a big kind of spokesman for Trump. They're putting him out there on podcasts to get those alienated young men. So I do think this does actually have real world implications in terms of. Like a Kennedy having an affair is what's the expression? Bringing coal to Newcastle. It's.
Well, I mean, I think this is how I think it actually. I don't know, frankly, that like. Donald Trump reportedly had many affairs too. I don't think this is anything that's going to impact his voting as a first order thing. We should say, according to the Post, Nuzzi broke off her engagement with Ryan Lizza. That was also a very well-known sort of scandal.
Well, he was married, and then they got together, and they were engaged. Who cares? But I'm just trying to say it's a little bit of something. And he was Me Too'd, so he was the subject of sexual misconduct allegations as well, and she stood by him.
Okay, but according to the Post, they broke off. And they called off the marriage in the last few weeks, sources told the Post. So it gives you maybe some insight as to like how this story got out there. And she claims it was just a sexting relationship. That's possible, but regardless, it's almost less relevant than the fact that there was this relationship and she was writing still on the, she was saying writing stuff about Biden and
Biden's
but she did a profile of RFK Jr. for New York Magazine.
But apparently it was sort of a tough profile.
Yeah, it was a tough profile. Yeah. But I mean, she was covering the campaign and obviously RFK Jr. But
here's the thing that I think the implications I think it's going to have for the campaign. I suspect that this could inhibit Kennedy's opportunity to continue to campaign. That to me seems to be the real world implication of it. Because there may be folks in the Kennedy household who are like, dude, I thought it's one thing to say that you weren't a choir boy before, but I thought that implies that you're a choir boy now. And he may be staying home a little bit more.
I think if we have Curb Your Enthusiasm music, that might be appropriate. His wife is did play Larry David's wife on that
Hines,
show.
yeah.
And yeah, I mean, maybe the real tragedy is that Curb canceled before they could work the storyline in, because I think it is almost that kind of like absurd mishap that is of that nature. Yeah, no, I mean, I think I mean, that's a pretty fair read. Like, I do think she has all kind of been a reluctant supporter of his political campaigning, and this might be the the straw that breaks the camel's back.
And it also adds, and I don't think like your average person on the street is going to be aware of this story, but it certainly adds an air around the sort of like, certainly everybody in the media is going to know this story. It adds to that sense of like total chaos with a Trump, I mean, around Trump, like, like just like anybody who's in that orbit seems to be sort of problematic. And I think that's going to bleed through in coverage.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that actually is the linkage between these three stories. I mean, Trump endorsed Mark Robinson. And as I said, he's like Martin Luther King on steroids. And Rufo is like a big figure in the sort of Republican right. And Kennedy is like, their entryway into getting those independent voters. So there's a total sense of chaos. I think, was there like a Matt Gaetz story, or was that just a regurgitation?
Matt Gaetz, well, apparently it's been reported now that he was in attendance at a party that is at the center of of trafficking charges. Now, he was at the party. Who knows what the implications are there? I'm sure Kevin McCarthy is still working overtime to sort of leak this stuff out there. It's part of his revenge tour. Yeah. But also, I think, you wrote about this, and I want to apologize because I think I don't know if we consciously copied your headline for a video we did about it, but you talk about Trump being Loomered. And I think Loomer, what we've seen is more Loomering, essentially, right?
Yeah, I know. I mean, the word Loomered is, I think, one of Trump's many contributions to the English language. As one of my colleagues at The Nation said, he kind of winces whenever he hears the word Loomered. But it actually does capture the reality of this sort of very embarrassing psychosexual relationship with fundamentally strange figures. That seems to be like the recurring theme in the modern GOP. And Loomer herself, Loomer didn't happen yesterday, but it's been happening. And Trump, once said, you don't want to get Loomered. It's bad news if you get Loomered. Well, I'm sorry, man, but you have allowed yourself to be Loomered, and Loomered good and hard.
Well, I mean, the Nuzzi thing is also interesting to me in the sense of, like, I find her to be a fundamentally strange figure in and of herself, right? Like, her rise is a little bizarre, and, like, I've had some Twitter spats with her before, but I've just fundamentally not liked her writing. Like, it's been quite sycophantic, and in recent years, it's become... like, I really don't read it too much, but what I've read is it's very descriptive and very intimate with a lot of right-wing figures in this space. She was able to get close to Rudy Giuliani during Trump's presidency. She was able to profile Trump in 2019 in the White House. And it's just something for people to think about how figures on the right with that much power are transactional with their access, and whether it be for matters of sex or whether it be for just like essentially trading favors. This is the glad handing that the Trump Republicans engage in, and the reason she got into RFK's, like, I think inner circle in that way was because the Trump people were happy with her profiles of them in previous years. So it's just a way to, I think, more critically analyze media, even though it is just fun and salacious as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is sort of like access journalism taken to like its ultimate level. And I mean, to be fair, I have to say, this stuff has kind of always gone on. It's always been unsavory. I mean, legendary Ben Bradley of the Washington Post, he and John Kennedy, used to share dates. They used to like go swinging together, and Bradley would cover up Kennedy's sex life when he was at the Washington Post. But I think that stuff, like in recent decades, at least, for very good reasons, thankfully for the rise of feminism, has been frowned upon. So in some ways, it is part of the "Make America Great Again" theme. Like in some ways, the Kennedy, the Trump entourage has like the sort of 1950s, early 60s Mad Men feel of retro Kennedy, and they have an actual Kennedy, involved in salacious sexual stuff. So it all ties together.
Let me offer an alternative definition of being loomered. View that is a little bit more expansive, because my experience at Air America, which was founded by a con man, let me rephrase that, because that guy is litigious, and I don't know that. Was founded by someone who was allegedly a con man, and by that they had embezzled money allegedly from the boys' club. They had been arraigned later in Guam. They had claimed that they had a brain tumor. They not allegedly kept bouncing checks to many of us. And the thing that I noticed is that the people who were the most loyal to that person, were the craziest people around.
Yeah.
And they would rise up and be, he would surround himself with people who were like not bright and also or crazy, and so desperate to have power that the cadre around it, all the good people would just stay away. And that's what Trump really does, right? I mean, there's a reason why, Mark Robinson, he's so attached to Donald Trump. There's a reason why Laura Loomer and, all of these lunatic fringe, they all are comfortable within the Trump orbit because they know how to deal with Trump. It's the same thing. We're all going to maintain this illusion. And if you buy into the illusion and the delusion and the grift, then we're all in this together. And that's what, to me, loomering is like when you're lassoed in there.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. And Emma had used the word transactional, and it is absolutely a question of loyalty. Trump, when he was defending Loomer, said, well, she's a big supporter, and Loomer often says Trump did nothing wrong. So it is, and these kind of desperate fringe figures often see Trump as their only hope. And their loyalty is based on the fact that they have to protect their phony baloney jobs. If it wasn't for Trump, they might actually have to work for a living. But he elevates them. He gives them this kind of celebrity status within that. It is a little bit like the sort of celebrity entourage, right? You have. People who are hanger-ons, who are yes people, can do dirty deeds. It is a very unsavory atmosphere, and I'm wondering, we're talking about it, but I wonder if this is seeping in to the mainstream media. I don't think people have a full sense of how strange that Trump world is.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.